on tonight. The Cavaliers, they look to stave off elimination against a New York Knicks team that is playing certainly their best basketball of the year and possibly, Danny, in what, the past 27 years?
Yeah, about 27 years.
We have a 2-hour show to get you set for Game 4. NBA Today starts right now.
A game can't be called a must-win situation unless a team's facing elimination. It's not a must-win situation for the Cavs, but it's pretty darn close.
What a shot from Brunson. Oh, what a pass from Anunoby. And the Cavs just stopped playing on that possession.
The Knicks are now 1 win away from their first finals appearance in 27 years.
I think we're going to have one of those masterful gems from the big fella.
Wemby, think he's going to go from midcourt. Got it!
Nothing but the bottom.
The lob. Castle. The Spurs are alive tonight. Castle leaving for Wemby. Resounding response to San Antonio in Game 4. Best of 7, now a best of 3.
Well, the San Antonio Spurs, they certainly roared back last night. Hello, welcome to NBA Today for this Cleveland show. We have some gentlemen with Cleveland roots. Amon Shumpert, he won that title in 2016 with these Cavaliers. DG, yes, drafted by Cleveland. And, of course, Ohio native Brian Windhorst here. I'm Malika Andrews. I don't have any roots with Cleveland, but by judging by the fans behind us here, it seems like it's the New York Knicks that are in the building here early, my friends.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to take over the city, too.
Yeah, the energy, you can certainly feel it here ahead of Game 4 as the New York Knicks are trying to do something that they have not done since 1999. Josh Hart, Karl Anthony Towns, they spoke earlier at Shoot-Around. Let's take a listen.
I don't really feel like we're that close because, this series is over. If we're blessed enough to move on, then I can answer that question. But if we start thinking of that now, then we start overlooking them, and they're a team that can get hot, that can play well, and turn this into a long series. So don't really got time to think of that until you're fortunate enough to be in that position.
I've talked to you before about we can't just meet the moment, we got to exceed it. And in those moments when we've had those closeout games, we've exceeded the moment. So, it's up to us again to go out there and exceed the moment again.
I don't know, Brian, as we were walking out the other day, it certainly feels like the Knicks, they're doing everything they can to temper expectations. They're proud of what they've done, but at the same time, they feel like they haven't done anything yet. Danny, you've been in this position 4 times. You've gone to the NBA Finals 4 different times. Take us inside what the Knicks are feeling in this moment.
I got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff and Mike Brown, keeping them in that mind space. I know Kat had an interview after quarter 1 of Game 3. He said, I'm more pissed off that they got 27 points than we have 39. And, that's the mindset you have to have. Josh Hart, just, kind of living in the moment and not thinking about what's ahead. It's we got to close the series. When we close the series, then I can think more about it. With them being that focused, it's like that Kobe mentality. Yeah, back in the days when locked in, Pop had us locked in. We didn't think about the stage or what was happening or finals. Taking it one game at a time, not satisfied, job's not done. That's how they're approaching the game. That's how they got to stay focused and locked in.
Yeah, I like their mindset. I like where they're at. When you're going into a closeout game, usually you want to just get things out the way. But when I look at this, I'm just like, can we get a game? Can we get a little competition going? Can we go back and forth? Can I enjoy New York and Cleveland for a little bit? Because I also want the Knicks or whoever comes out of this battle. You know what I'm saying?
Bravo.
I want whoever that comes out of this battle to be prepared. You don't want them to just be at home chilling and haven't really had any adversity in an Eastern Conference Finals. I just look at what they're doing over there in the West, and I say for the best matchup for basketball, I just want them to all be, well chiseled.
Well chiseled. Well, despite you wearing all black, the Cavaliers are not done yet here, Shump. They're not done yet. They're on the mat, but they're not quite done yet.
Yeah. We hope not.
We definitely hope not. I'm a guy that's been on the wrong side of a bad record, and it meant nothing. So I understand they can come together. I understand what they can do with their locker room. I just, I expect more. I really do. I have been on their case, but it's because they have a good ball club. They just haven't performed up to standard.
And I don't think that they believe that they have either, analytically.
We're
not doing that yet. Let's go over to the Western Conference here before we go down that rabbit hole, Amon Shumpert. Talking about wanting to see the Eastern Conference battle.
Those the Nuns.
We're certainly seeing that.
That's what they need.
And
They
they're
need the
blessed.
Nuns.
They were blessed here by the Salesian Nuns. Area 51, that
Right
connection early here. And then later on in the first quarter, once again, the Spurs got out to a hot start, and you wondered, okay, is this the time they're able to hang on to it?
Yeah, and you thought maybe the Thunder would make a comeback at them, but they weren't blessed.
Yeah, it was certainly the Spurs giving OKC a dose of their own medicine. So are we calling this Area 51 or Area 59? After
All
last
right.
night. Oh no, I'm gonna get
long
booed off the
show.
court. All right, pre-game, Victor Wembanyama, he always, gets up some half-court heat.
Messing around.
They're not looking great. But in the game is when it matters the most. Victor Wembanyama, the final seconds of the first half here, pulls up. He makes it look easy.
Got all the misses
my
out.
friends.
Got all his misses out.
So here is Victor. Here's what he had to say about that shot after the game.
Look at the rainbow.
Those of us who watched you kind of mess around shooting half-court shots after shoot-arounds and practices, it doesn't seem like you make a whole lot of those when you're messing around.
I was just thinking shoot to score. I wasn't messing around. I'm at halftime.
How could you not love that man?
Love it.
To the third quarter we go here. Castle, once again, looking for Victor Wembanyama.
Upstairs.
Castle's fingerprints were all over this game.
Yes, they were.
Castle was a superstar in the third quarter of this game, no doubt.
Without a doubt. He just keeps bringing it. We talk about that level of competition. He has it every possession. He's screaming. He's happy for his teammates. When he made that half-court shot, Castle jumped into his arms like a little kid. That boy loved basketball.
And the Nuns are loving it.
It proved.
Look at him. Look at him. Hey, he flopped. Nope, that's what you get.
He just
Don't flop.
bounced it back there and said, somebody take it.
Hey!
By the way, this was uncharacteristic of OKC.
Why would you? Don't sell it.
They had 20 turnovers in this game.
Yeah.
Hey!
They were the ones forcing the turnovers against the Spurs last
This was
night.
pretty cool. You can see Victor leaning on Mitch Johnson. In the same moment, another generation, Tim Duncan leaning on the great Greg Popovich as the Spurs go on to win this game pretty handily. And Wemby's the first player
Deja vu.
to average 30, 10, and 3 blocks a game through the first 4 games of a conference finals since Tim Duncan.
D.
Yeah, that was in 2003. And before that, only Hakeem and Kareem have done this since blocks became official in 74. Let's take a listen to Wemby after the game.
We didn't do nothing unexpected, but the truth is that we had never been in this kind of situation before. It was our first deficit in a playoff series, and we just responded, but it was nothing amazing. It wasn't magic. We just did what we needed to do, and the series is far from over.
All right, so the Spurs, in all honesty, Brian, they came out and looked like a team that was down 2-1 and had to win. And yet, it's easy to take away more from this Game 4 than just that.
They played with force and desperation. If they had gone down 3-1, I don't know, guys. I mean, Thunder are really good. To beat them 3 in a row, I almost thought this was a quasi-elimination game. I wasn't sure we were going to get from Wemby. We're still learning about him. He's still learning about himself. I thought he looked a little worn down in Game 3.
Yeah.
He had 6 dunks in Game 1. Amazing, right? And the overtime, I know, helped that. Game 2, 1 dunk. Game 3, 1 dunk. I just didn't think he had the same force and burst. 4 dunks last night. And it's not all about the dunks, but it's about what they sort of represent, about his energy level. And I will say this. You can say that they're young and that they're inexperienced and they may make mistakes. They have repeatedly answered the call this year in these playoffs when they faced adversity. It happens in all 3 rounds, and it leads me to believe that they will be able to do it again if they face it again.
I was with you, Brian. I was a little concerned about his fatigue because it starts and stops with him. Like, if he doesn't play like the best player on the floor night in, night out, they don't have a chance. And you've seen in Game 3, I think he had 12 points through most of the game. He kicked it up in the fourth quarter, but if he doesn't start with that and force that his power on the game, it's going to be tough for them to survive. They're going to need that, especially on the road in Game 5 at OKC. And those other guys, he empowers and feeds into those other guys to play at a high level, especially defensively. Castle, Harper, they're going to need some bench production, of course, but it starts with Wemby.
I don't think that he's tired. I think it's just one of them things that he doesn't really know where to assert himself. You remember he had that
Could be Isaiah Hartenstein.
The other day he had that quote where it was interesting. He said, I need to find a way to make my teammates better. And I need to do that. And I think we took it as he's going to be looking for them more. But I think it was just action-based. He understands that, hey, I need to be in the right position. I need to sprint to screens. He was sprinting to screens. He was sprinting the floor. He was aggressive early on and saying, give me the ball, kind of yelling into their ear, so to speak, to say, hey, give me the ball, trust me, I'm going to get us going. And I think that assertiveness is what won in the end.
So also on the Spurs defense on SGA, they doubled him less in this game.
And late.
Which was interesting.
Picked and chose moments when to do so.
I think it was more like it seemed like at the end of the shot clock mostly, where they didn't leave right away. Everybody stayed home, and then randomly, if you brought in action late, under 8 seconds, 10 seconds, they ran and jumped at you, and it wasn't always a closed trap. It was a trap, but we're kind of going for the passing lanes.
One of the most important stats in this game is Alex Caruso, who was shooting 60% on threes.
Yeah.
Non-existent.
He only took one shot.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he had a bad game. He had a non-existent game, and that is the byproduct of not doubling Shea so hard on the perimeter and staying attached
Staying in front of people.
And I'm going to tell you something. One thing, Malika, the Spurs didn't play a perfect game. They only shot 38%.
Yeah.
They only shot 27% from three.
Yeah.
This game was won at the other end of the court.
Defensively.
No Jalen Williams and no A.J. Mitchell really narrows the
ball handling,
the Thunder's offensive production margin for error, and we saw it all the way through that whole game.
And it certainly puts even more on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's shoulders if he is having to take those ball handling responsibilities. And so the question, it turns to Game 5, because on the one hand, OKC has home court advantage back, so they should feel good about that. But if they're not healthy, we see what the San Antonio Spurs team is able to do. Let's bring in our senior insider, Shams Charania, here with more as we look towards Game 5. Shams, are we there? Are we there? I think
Morning, Shams. Where's the motorcycle jacket?
Oh, yeah. No, he's dressed up today.
Motorcycle jacket today.
Shams, what more can you tell us about the status here of both Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell as we look towards Game 5 in Oklahoma City?
Woo.
Malika, the Thunder are still evaluating both Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell on a day-to-day basis. J-Dub, a.k.a. Jalen Williams, we know he suffered a second injury to that same left hamstring in just under 1 month. I am told that he is making some progress in his on-court workouts. He's starting to do more and more. A.J. Mitchell, on the other hand, he's been dealing with right calf tightness throughout the playoffs, and then he was diagnosed over the weekend with a right calf strain. Both of their statuses are very much up in the air for Game 5 on Tuesday night, both dealing with soft tissue injuries. We know the Oklahoma City Thunder as an organization always look at the long-term approach, and when you think about these soft tissue injuries of hamstring as well as a calf, these typically are not just day-by-day injuries.
Yeah, and they are saying it's soreness and not a strain here for J-Dub in particular, but when you hear calf and when you hear hamstring, it's not usually something you see a return from quickly. Shams, thank you for that insight. We'll check in with you as we get closer to that Game 5. They're on the verge of a sweep. They're up 3-0. This is how they got it done on Saturday night, even with some big stars in the building. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift.
And his girlfriend.
And they couldn't shake it off. The Knicks, they were able to get out in transition. Hart hands it off to Bridges. Gets the layup to go there.
Hold on. Let me push it. Let me push the offense.
Bridges looking.
I see you.
Finds Landry Shamet.
Microwave.
No thought.
7 of 8 from 3 in this series so far.
No thought for him.
The New York Knicks, they scored 16 points in transition in the first half. Only 2 points for the Cavaliers. And then there was Jalen Brunson. The Brunson burner was fully turned up here. Very productive third quarter in this one, Danny.
Yep. Get into that left hand. You know it's automatic.
And every time he gets James Harden in isolation.
Eyes light up.
Yep.
So does the rim.
Nails the step back there. And then Brunson finds Mitchell Robinson. Little alley-oop slam there.
One team's playing at a different speed than the other team.
Yeah, and Brunson scored or assisted on 14 points, by the way, in the third. And then the Landry mat, it was open.
Oh, I like that.
Put him in a spin cycle.
Give me microwave.
Keep going. What else you got?
Stay hot. Step back.
Brian.
Cycle done.
The Knicks, they win their 10th consecutive.
Is anybody going to guard him?
No, he's like, no.
Like the white flag has been.
Here's Brunson
waved.
after the game.
I think most importantly, we obviously had that Knicks man up mentality. But we have a bunch of individuals in that that locker room who work really hard, and they're very psychotic about their work and the things they do, and making sure that their minds that they're ready physically and mentally. So when their number's called and then when there's time to go out there, they're ready.
All right, the numbers have been a big topic of conversation this series, so let's look at the Knicks numbers here. They rank first in basically every statistical category here this postseason. Scoring, field goal percentage, three-point shooting, scoring differential. The list goes on and on. When you're number one in that many things, you need a Hall of Famer to talk about you. And that's why we have our Hall of Famer, Mark Spears, here joining us on set in Cleveland. Mark, you have covered a lot of New York Knicks teams over the years. You've covered good New York Knicks teams. You've covered New York Knicks teams that struggle. What has separated this group from others that you've seen?
This morning, Kat was asked about only Brunson being on the All-NBA team. Yeah. And he said, well, it's because we play defense. And I think that's the difference with this Knicks team is they're a defensive, everything.
Right.
Like an NFL defensive team, the way they're playing. And the thing is, it's not just Kat. It's a collective. Kat's 6th in defensive rating. McBride is 4th in defensive rating. Hart is averaging 1.7 steals per game. You got 5 Knicks that are averaging a steal a game, and they were actually number 1 in the NBA in defensive rating until last night when the Spurs jumped over them. So for this Knicks defense, I mean, they are the reason, respectfully to Jalen Brunson, all the amazing that he's doing, that they're just destroying everybody right now.
They're a classic Mike Brown team.
Give a lot of credit to Mike Brown, opening up the floor with Kat and making him initiate the offense. But for me, the guy has been Mikal Bridges. He's been all over the place, right time. There was a point there in the Atlanta series we weren't sure if he was happy. They're going to lose him. He's at the end of the bench, not looking happy. As you see in this tape, he's getting in the paint, driving, kicking, finding guys, relocating, working the dunk area, setting some screens. As you see, Jalen Brunson sees this. This is their offense now. They got Kat being the point guard. Now he sees a mismatch. It's him and Jared Allen. They're putting a big man on him. He's like, all right, you going to put a big man on me? I'm going to go to the basket. Use a little wiry strength right here. Get the guy above him. Flex, show a little bicep muscle on the way in. So, now you got the full court. They're pressing. He's like, all right, I can bring the ball up too. This is what I can do. We make a mistake. Press me, press us. We're going to find it. We're going to push the break. Let me come into our offense. He's moving fast, setting a screen for Kat. Slips out. Donovan Mitchell knows he's a smaller player. Little easy layup. Just him doing these little things and playing hard has made him so effective and efficient. 86% on layups and dunks. And in that mid-range, he's damn near the same because he's knocking down that mid-range at a high clip.
It really engages him more that he's not just standing in the corner and waiting for threes.
Absolutely.
Look, in this offense, we're going to put you on the move. We're going to let you do your things. And when you get in transition, don't just pass and run to the corner. Go to the basket, create. I think all that, he always had that in his game, but they've sort of ignited that in him.
Yeah, he's put emphasis on it. You see him a lot, getting on the breakaway, using them hamstrings, getting out, stretching out, using his height, using his length, getting to the basket. But I always liked him within cutting. Yeah. If he can cut, if he can set those back screens, pop in there, that you see the double coming, he needs to be the guy. Him and Josh Hart are good at that, getting into that open area and making something happen out of nothing.
There's been some discourse that the championship game is being played, the championship series has been being played out west right now between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. The way that these New York Knicks are playing right now, if this is the New York Knicks team that shows up, I'm not sure that's true, Amon.
Yeah, the championship is going to be tougher than people once imagined it, just because we finally have a couple of teams that are making adjustments and not making adjustments game by game. This is in the game action right now. Third quarter, we coming out. We're not doing that no more. Now what's your move? This is real chess out here right now.
Let me speak to this very quickly.
Yep.
Yes, the Western Conference has been a harder run. Yeah. Yes, the Knicks have gotten a Philly team that was banged up, tired, and maybe a little bit satisfied, and a Cavs team that was tired and a little bit satisfied. But they're beating all these teams. They're crushing them. They've won these 10 games by 250 points combined. It'd be one thing if they were barely getting by. They're taking their competition and they're destroying it. Historically, when you destroy competition like that, it means you're a championship-level team.
And the two teams in the West are destroying each other.
Right. And so we'll see if that rest versus rust comes into effect once again here. And speaking of, coming up here on NBA Today, Amon, the Spurs, they really put the clamps on the defending champs last night, and they contained SGA pretty well.
Yeah, they kept a hand up, they kept a hand out. They was in passing lanes, they was in his handle. Every time they got at the end of the shot clock, they sent a little bit of a double, but a double that was conscious of the pass. They wouldn't let him get his guys going.
You don't see Shea score less than 20 very often, but this has not really been Chet's series.
Well, when you're going up against that at the rim, I don't blame him. But he was awesome the first 2 rounds, and now he keeps running into number 1.
Wide open look here at 3, and it's just a little bit off here. Holmgren, he's only averaged about 11 a game in these West Finals, and to your point, he averaged 18 in those opening 2 rounds here. And then the Thunder, this is usually what we see the Thunder do to other teams. The Spurs were turning them over here, Danny.
Oh, yeah. Yep, getting active, deflections.
Look who's handling the ball.
Hey! Wemby finishes with the jam there.
Physicality.
You got to stop selling calls because we don't care. This is what happens. This is what happens when you sell the call. Hey! That's what happens when you sell calls. Stop selling calls. You stronger than that. I know you stronger than that.
Well, the Thunder, they allowed 25 points off those 20 turnovers, and they lost that game here. And the Thunder, they only scored 82 points here. That's the fewest in a playoff game by a team with the best record in the NBA. Yes, I know that's a little convoluted. Since Miami in 2013. That was also
against the Spurs.
Yes,
you know,
it was, DG.
A little defense over there.
Let's take a listen to head coach Mark Daigneault after this blowout loss.
That's the trick. You know, I think when you play 12, we've played 12 playoff games. When you play 12 playoff games, they're not all going to be masterpieces. So as much as you want to win, there's nights where you just don't have it for whatever reason.
Yeah, they just punched us in our face early. It's 2 games in a row. They've come out the aggressors.
You talked before about priding yourself on making your teammates better. Just what are some things you think you can do to help get Chet a little bit more involved offensively?
Yeah. I mean, Chet's an easy target to find. So probably just like find him more in the dunker or when he's spacing. Just put him in better positions to use his strengths as an offensive talent.
Excuse me?
Whoever,
keeping it real.
Whichever one of our producers put that thought bubble up there, y'all are a little bit wrong for that. But I do appreciate Shea's honesty here, and it's something that we don't always get. And so I do want to encourage that because we get to see a little peek behind the curtain here, and the numbers back him up, right? Chet hasn't taken more than 10 shots for 5 straight games. That's the longest stretch of his career. What do you see?
I mean, basically, his answer didn't give you much. It was Chet's got to do it himself. He's got to be more assertive. He's got to be more active. And with Isaiah Hartenstein in the lineup, he's supposed to be the guy free running, like be a free safety, block shots, get rebounds. Isaiah's doing a lot of dirty work with Wemby. I know Wemby's a tough guy to match up against Brian. You see number 1, but you got to find other ways to be active, getting offensive rebounds. You know, knocking down a shot. That confidence, he needs that. If he gets a 3-ball to go, that'd be nice because previous series he was shooting like 48% from 3. But you can do the little things, and when you got 2 bigs out there, that's where you take advantage of the smalls and be active. If he does that, it'll open up the game for him so much more. Obviously, it'd help him a lot if he had A.J. Mitchell and J-Dub, but he's got to take this on himself.
Now you got it, because Chet doesn't get his own shots most of the time. He gets set up by the perimeter players and the ball handlers. Their ball handlers are not there, okay? If you look at this season, if you're looking for a soft spot, where can we get to Oklahoma City? 21 games they played without A.J. Mitchell and Jalen Williams, both of them together, okay? 21 times, including the playoffs. They're 11-10 in those games. 11-10. Now, there's asterisks in there because a couple of those games were full rest games. You know, Shea missed a couple of those games. So the point is this. When you don't have 2 of your 3 main ball handlers, your entire offense is going to go downhill, and Chet Holmgren gets pulled down with it. So you can yell at Chet if you're a fan. You can say do more. But part of it is they don't have these 2 guys. And in all honesty, if I were the Knicks, I'd be listening to Sham's injury reports very carefully on those 2 guys because it didn't sound good to me the rest of this series.
Yeah.
It's going to potentially impact who you might play, what the quality might be when they get there.
Chet's got to do a little bit more.
He's got to.
I'm sorry. I get it, though.
For Jalen Duren, right? Like
the handle, the ball handlers not being there. They're going to hit him for some sprays. They're going to get him some easy ones. But it's a lot of these, it's rim running. It's effort.
It's knowing that Wemby is going to try and block this shot, so now I get a free run at the rim and I can get me a tip dunk. It's knowing that you can set a pin down and they're going to have to flex a little bit more if one of my guys get hot, and I'm going to dive down here and try and get a quick one. You have to find ways to be out here and be aggressive, to go a whole game and say, when you look up and say, man, I only got about 10 points, knowing that you got guys down, you got to pull a little bit more out of you. So I think that SGA didn't want to disrespect him as a teammate, but he is trying to challenge him in the same sense to say, hey, man, we need something out of you, and I can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. I'm not even 7 feet.
I think right now SGA is like hoping for a miracle for AJ or J-Dub. AJ's had this incredible series, man, this incredible breakthrough season. He's actually established himself as the number 2 scorer for the Thunder. 20, they're like 10-1 when he scores over 20 points per game. He helps Shea out by his driving, by his spacing, and he's also a great defender.
Yeah.
So, but when J-Dub goes out and he moves to the starting lineup, then that means that great bench, their superpower, gets a little lesser. Now he's out. Casey Wallace is in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
That's really destroyed the big superpower for the Thunder is their bench.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't think has even really been talked about much is now, like, once they go to the bench,
not a lot of firepower
right now. Depth of the Thunder has been something that has been one of their superpowers, and now with 2 key guys down, that's something that's certainly going to play a factor here for OKC as the series shifts back to Oklahoma City. But on this first side, I loved this last night, right? Did you guys see what De'Aaron Fox, he told our friends on NBC, Maria Taylor and the crew on their post-game show after the game? Yeah, he said that it was El Jefe himself. He said that it was Greg Popovich that gave them a speech that said that we need to get this done. So for more on that, let's bring in our reporter covering this series, Michael C. Wright. Michael, what exactly happened there? Because I just love that Greg Popovich kind of infused himself back in that role.
Well, let me take you back to last season, Malika, when Pop was recovering from the stroke. When he addressed the team for the first time, Keldon Johnson was telling me about the whole thing. And he said, when Pop walks in the room, you shut the F up. And that's exactly what happened after Game 3. Pop came in there. The whole staff was in there, all the players. General Manager Brian Wright was in there, Mitch Johnson, everybody. And he basically told them, hey, this is BS. Like, what we're doing right now is not San Antonio Spurs basketball. And basically, look, you just had a 60-win season, and this is how you want to go out? I was told years ago by the current CEO, R.C. Buford, who used to be the GM, he told me that Pop is at his best during the darkest hours. And Game 3 was a dark hour for the Spurs. And really, like, Pop coming in there, it speaks to the relationship that he has with current coach Mitch Johnson. Those two, they talk all the time. And look, it would be malpractice if Mitch did not lean on the wisdom and the corporate knowledge just walking around that building every day. And going back to the dark days, I can give you several examples, like the dinner they had in Miami after they lost in the finals to the Miami Heat. I think our guy Danny Green was actually at that dinner.
Well, we're gonna have to get some firsthand experience from Danny Green on this. Michael C. Wright, thank you very much for that insight. What was it? Eight seasons that you had under
yeah,
Greg Popovich?
7.5. I'm very familiar with Pop's tongue lashing, and to this day, still scared of him. He puts the fear of God in most guys. When he said, when you walk into a room, you shut the F up. You guys have seen Casino, Goodfellas, all the mob, Godfather.
Yeah.
That's what it's like when he walks into a room and you're trying to become a made man. So if you come in, he's going to let you know he's the best in the business, and he thrives in these moments, the dark days, as Michael said, because he loves these type of moments where he can give you a nice little tongue lash, and he's great at it. He's the best in the business at it. But they know what's at stake here. They know what this opportunity is, and I seen Carter Bryant. He's a young kid that I saw last night. It made me feel like, I'm not saying at home, but I'm like, I remember that being me. Like him being so emotional, want to do so good, but this is going to turn him into a player. They're building a lot of character in these moments, but Pop is letting them know, giving the sense of urgency. You're at home. You're behind. I don't care if it's 2-2. You got to go in with this mindset, and you got to be greedy if you want to be champions, you want to be great. So him doing this was great to see, and it also reminds me that he's in pretty good health to be able to do that.
Right.
I'd love to see that he's able to walk in that locker room, but he puts the fear in God and guys, and he puts that pep in your step. And you could tell by De'Aaron Fox's interview after the game that he was fearful and he was scared. And I was like, I know those film room sessions very well.
It's not just guys. I could say that as a sideline reporter, there was no interview that I got more nervous for than chatting with head coach Greg Popovich.
Word.
Don't ask the wrong question.
Do not ask
He'll make you look
the
stupid. He'll be
wrong
nice to the ladies, but certain guys.
Yeah, he will make you look dumb.
Look real stupid.
I bet it's wine, though.
Oh, my goodness. So now we got a series that's all tied up here in the Western's 26th career 30-point game in Knicks playoff history, the most in franchise franchise postseason history, Shump. What has he shown you so far?
Man, with Jalen Brunson, you want a storyline, man. How about father-son? How about a point guard finally coming in here, controlling pace? We say a small guard can't win, and now he's winning, but I just think his poise has been tremendous throughout these playoffs, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. Big body Brunson.
And Rick Brunson.
As my boy Perk would say.
And then there's Karl Anthony Towns, the facilitator, right? Because off his passes, the Knicks are shooting 70% this postseason, the best since 2015, according to our tracking. Mark, what growth have you seen in his game?
Well, I met him at the Hoop Summit 11 years ago, now 11 years later. He's had a lot of ups and downs in his career, but this tri-state area guy is excited about getting to his first NBA Finals. But he says he's got to focus on today, not tomorrow, and he never takes anything for granted.
Certainly that focus is going to be necessary here in a closeout game. Mikal Bridges has been fantastic this series. He's averaging just a hair under 20 a game on a wild 69% from the field, the third best over an 8-game span in a postseason in the shot clock era. So, Brian, is this what they envisioned when they traded those 5 picks?
They definitely envisioned an impact guy. And I'll tell you one thing, and you wouldn't believe it, but he's actually taking 5 fewer shots per game in this playoffs than last playoffs. Guess what? He's shooting 20% higher.
Wow.
That's efficiency.
Mr.
That's
Efficient.
been part of the change with Bridges this offseason.
Let's round this out with OG, Ogugwa Anunoby. Returned for the conference finals, and he's been a scorching from 3. 51% on threes this postseason. Danny, you know a thing or two about hitting threes. Is this the best playoff run he's ever had?
Definitely. And, I mean, he had some good runs in Toronto. He was a youngin' then. But right now, he's a super vet. He's able to take his time, coming back from injury, knock down these shots, be in the right place at the right time, getting a little more comfortable attacking the basket when they double Jalen Brunson, try to dunk over some people, try to get James Harden one time. But he's being that floor space that they need, and he's been doing that throughout the whole playoffs. Is why they've been able to win at a comfortable scoring differential.
When you look at the scoring differential, that 225 points during their 10-game win streak is the best scoring over a 10-game span in NBA history. By the way, that includes the regular season and the playoffs. And of course, we are here in Cleveland for Game 4 here of the Eastern Conference Finals. But nationally, today is Memorial Day. And today we recognize those that have served, those that have died for our country. Here on NBA Today, we just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our veterans. Thank you to all of our families that have served here and have supported over the years. And one of the programs that the NBA and WNBA works closely with, it's called TAPS, the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, that cares for all those grieving the death of a military or veteran loved one. And it creates opportunities all over the country for the last 12 years. And these events, these interactions, they allow bereaved families, military families, to honor and celebrate the life, the service of heroes with their favorite players, their favorite teams, their favorite sports. And these moments, they mean an incredible amount here. And we've had many decorated athletes here joining the show. And today I'm so honored to welcome General Martin E. Dempsey to NBA Today. And General Dempsey, I'd just like to read some of your accomplishments here. You're the 18th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, special advisor to the NBA. And you also are one of the people who connected the NBA with the TAPS program. Can you tell us just a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it actually goes back to 2012 when the Olympic team with Mike Krzyzewski on the men's side and Gina Oriem on the women's side were passing through D.C. on the way to London for the Olympics. I was still the chairman at the time, and we collaborated to give those athletes the experience of knowing what it was to represent their country. And one of the ways we did that was connecting them to, the children of those serving, but also then to the survivors of the fallen through this organization called TAPS. And it really made an impression on the athletes, but it also made a wonderful impression on these, young children who had recently lost a loved one in their lives. So it has become something that we've tried to continue to do every year.
It's certainly a program that means so very much to so many. General Dempsey, you spent 41 years in uniform. Thank you so very much for your service. And now we're celebrating America's 250th birthday. I see there's so many fans that are out here enjoying Memorial Day baseball. What does Memorial Day mean to you in this moment of reflection?
Well, Memorial Day is always the most solemn of holidays for me personally, and I think also for those who have served. we very much appreciate the support of the American people, both for those who go to war and come home, but also for those families who are left without a loved one because they've fallen in combat. And by the way, the NBA and by extension, USA Basketball have been wonderful to both members of the military through a program called Hoops for Troops, Commitment to Serve. We work a lot together. I'd like to think of it as connecting the best athletes in the world with the best military in the world. And then again, when you add in that extra component of a Memorial Day remembrance, then you've got this reminder to me anyway that we owe the families of the fallen our continued support, and those who fell should have, I think, and in many cases have inspired us, to live up to their example of selflessness and service. I have a little thing. In fact, I have a hat here. I'm going to put it on. That reminds me that every day we should make their sacrifice matter, but in particular, of course, on a Memorial Day like this one.
Absolutely. Make it matter. What a wonderful message to share with all of our viewers. Thank you for that, General Dempsey. Before we let you go here, I'm hoping I got to get in one quick basketball question here, because you are on the board of directors. You're actually the chairman of the board of directors for Team USA, and we're here talking about the conference finals. Are you worried about Victor Wembanyama yet in 2028?
Victor Wembanyama, first of all, he's a wonderful young man, so I don't want to, but now I'm going to tell you he's my personal nightmare as the chairman of USA Basketball. But look, almost many of the athletes in the finals, and, as I travel around with the NBA, I'm always running into players, both those who have played for us and those who have played for other countries. And it's really, look, it's, in my judgment, it's the best thing about basketball is that it's such a global sport, brings people together, grow the game, the competition's getting better and better. In the 2019 World Cup, we had Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges on the same team. It's like, Villanova, here we go again, right? So, but that's what I love about it, actually. So I personally, I said he's my personal nightmare. That's true. I'm sure that our head coach for the men's team, Eric Spoelstra, is probably feeling exactly that way, watching them grow and develop. But bring it on, that's what let's bring it on. Let's see who can last for those 40 minutes of FIBA basketball and prevail.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't think you're alone in either one of those sentiments, in the personal nightmare for many, and also the sentiment that bring it on, because you want to go through the absolute best. General Dempsey, thank you so much for your time here, for reminding us to make it matter here on this Memorial Day, and thank you so very much for your service. Evan Mitchell, he was asked about it. Take a listen.
I'm from New York. This doesn't shock me. They do it in every arena. It's like Cowboys fans. Just who they are. I don't think it's a Cleveland thing. It wasn't just us. You look at Philly. That's how Knicks fans are. I was one back in the day.
We're still confident. Like, the confidence is, never going away. Like, we're more than capable. We just need some things to a shift change and make some shots to the series turns around.
Analytically, I think we've won I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. There's like an expected score, and we won 2 out of the 3. And I know you're looking confused, but there is really, if you believe in process and all that, like, man, so take that layer. I know I don't throw that on them. I see it for myself. Man.
Amon has been waiting all show to talk about this.
I'm balling up my analytics, because the only analytic is 3 L's in the column. That's it. It's I get it. I'm all about instilling confidence in the guys, but they don't need confidence. They need a foot in their ass. This is bad. It hasn't been. The energy, the effort hasn't been there, and that's what you yell at. You can't yell at mistakes. You can't yell at people being aggressive. You can't yell at missing shots.
nonchalantly letting somebody roll down the lane, just skip it. What he skipped through that lane?
So
you can't do that.
This has gotten a lot of attention. Kenny Atkinson saying that if you look at the analytics, they should be up in the series.
Oh, it hurts.
2-1, Brian. And we had our Schwartz Center, Michael Schwartz, crunch some of the numbers.
There we go.
He was talking about here.
Let's go.
So what he was referring to was what he called expected score, which is some sort of something the Cavs must cook up inside the building
They're
there.
cooking it up.
But
They're cooking it up.
books are getting cooked. What he's talking about luck. Basically, can you quantify luck? This is what teams try to do. And so if you look at the shooting percentages in this series, the expected shooting percentages, okay, the Cavs and Knicks have basically generated the same quality of shots. Okay, what it's saying is in a laboratory, if you took the same shots, the Knicks would shoot 50%, 51, and the Cavs would shoot 52. This is what Kenny is talking about. But he's saying, look, the Knicks are making 58% of those shots, and we're only making 50. Therefore, they've been slightly lucky, and we've been slightly unlucky.
Well, they ain't been lucky. They just, one team's playing defense and not letting y'all make the shots. One team's not letting y'all make the shots. The other team is letting it happen.
The computer can't read tired legs.
Exactly. They can't read the eyes.
Tired legs.
They can't read the eyes either, because I don't see the confidence that James was just talking about in the interview. I don't see it. I played in this team. I know what's going on in this arena. They want to see it too. Where the passion at?
I get what Kenny's saying. He's trying to look at some of the positives and instill some of that empowerment into his group.
Amon's looking at you like.
But this group has got to give them.
I want him to lie.
There was too much. There's too many plays that were unacceptable. Where Jalen Brunson gets down the lane and lays the ball up. Like, you got to show some pride, and they got to come out like they did. It might be fatigue, but at this point, like Perk said, we don't want to hear fatigue at this point in the season. You got to come out, have the mental fortitude, the physical fortitude to actually compete and have a sense of urgency like you did in Game 7 in Detroit.
Yes.
You got to be aggressive. You got to be assertive, and you got to make shots. The reason why those analytical numbers, Cleveland looks uncomfortable deep on offense because New York is playing defense. New York is saying they're making those shots because they look more comfortable. They're swinging the ball, moving to each other, and trusting each other. Cleveland has to do the same thing to get back into the series.
You know, when you get to this season being over for the Cavaliers and they're in Cancun, or Donovan getting ready for his wedding, right?
Yeah.
Today, as my phone says,
that's crazy. Summer,
May 25th. The last time these dudes
I thought
had
you were saying save the date.
2 days off in a row was April 27th and 28th. That's a long time ago.
That's how long it's been since the Knicks have lost a game. You want to have real talk?
Yeah.
Since April 29th, they haven't had 2 days off in a row once.
Yeah.
So when you look at Game 6 against Toronto, when you look at Game 6 against Detroit, those are games where the Cavaliers, when it's all said and done, they kick themselves about.
Yeah.
Because that could have got them some rest. Meanwhile, Knicks got 3 days off after the Sixers series.
9 days.
8 before the East started. And they've been running for their life.
Come on, man. End of the day.
Since the end of April, and that's why I think they're in this position.
For sure.
now.
End of the day, the Knicks are just a better team. And that's why a lot of people predicted the Knicks to win the series in 5 or 6. I thought so anyway. And Cleveland just doesn't have enough. With the fact that they are fatigued as well, combining on top of that, this is the outcome you get.
Well, look, we got another hour here of NBA Today to continue to react to Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, to get you prepared for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Whether or not this is going to be a sweep, that's what's yet to be determined, even though Amon is dressed like, yes, he is ready to be at a funeral this evening. I don't know. I went with the more angelic, optimistic approach. The second hour of NBA Today coming your way right now.
You're watching NBA Today, presented by Haagen-Dazs.